Hey everybody, it's a great day to get outside, finish up some of those fall chores before winter comes. We're mid-November here in my area, Northern Great Plains, Zone 4, and time's running out. Today we're going to be working on starting cutting back the herbaceous perennials that we've got growing around our landscape in our gardens. And I'm often asked, what's the absolute best time to cut back herbaceous perennials? And I'm going to say late winter into early spring. For us, that's sometimes mid-March we can start cutting back, and usually all the way through the month of April. Now, why do I suggest that is the best time? I think by allowing that perennial to die back naturally as we go into winter, you're allowing it to fully increase the amount of nutrients and storage it has in its root system. And that's what's going to be creating that growth the next spring. Also, by leaving those tops on, oftentimes they'll fall down right over the root system. And that's what you've got to protect. So it's like a natural mulch. Not only do those tops fall down, they'll help collect leaves that are blowing in the wind, and that just creates more additional mulch for them. And here's a good example on this hosta. I'm willing to bet some of this is already just going to naturally just separate. If you take a close look under there, a lot of leaves from this green ash tree had already started to accumulate in there. I've started to more appreciate as well that when you leave those tops on, a lot of the perennials, they have seeds. You're going to provide food and cover for some of the different wildlife. And another reason, since I live in a winter environment, you can oftentimes get some really showy winter interest on the tops of those perennials peeking out through the snow. So a lot of good reasons for it. And another one is in the fall, I'm actually kind of tired looking for a break, and I think most gardeners can relate to that. So in the spring, you're energized, you're ready to go, and it's just a lot more fun for me to cut back those perennials in the spring. But since I also do this for a living, I still go out and provide my services for hire. It's my livelihood. I don't have as much time in the spring, and that's why now I kind of do a hybrid. I do a lot of the perennial cutback in the fall. The number one thing I recommend, if you're going to be cutting back your perennials in the fall, just make sure you wait for at least one hard frost, maybe even two. And when I say hard frost, I'm saying, about 28 degrees Fahrenheit is typically cold enough to really signal to a plant that, hey, the growing season is over. Now, for most of my years gardening, I've mostly used the manual tools, the sharp Hedge shears and the pruners like the ones you see here. But now that there are so many great battery-operated tools, this automatic Hedge shears, man, it's become one of my favorite tools for this type of work. But boy, be careful. I still find myself bringing my hand into the cutting zone just a little bit too quickly, as that sickle bar does not stop immediately. I still work along in the process using all three tools though, because it can vary depending on how easy each tool's going to cut the different leaves and stems. Now, do you have to cut the tops off your perennials? No, you can actually leave them on each season, and that dead tissue, it'll eventually degrade, but it's definitely more of an unkept look over time, so the majority of gardeners are going to clean up the tops, as I'm demonstrating here. I came across this list in one of my folders that gives more specific suggestions on when is the best time to cut back many different perennial varieties. I'm not sure where I got this. Maybe it was a handout at a garden club, so these are likely suggestions from an experienced gardener. But as in all gardening, you're going to find varied opinions on the topic. And you can also find a lot of additional information on the subject with a quick web search. My experience then is that I've been equally successful cutting back perennials both in the late fall or early spring. And I don't worry too much about the variety. For me, it's more about my schedule, how the weather plays out each season. Just make sure you don't wait too long in the spring as that new growth can start to emerge, making it more difficult and time-consuming to remove that dead tissue. So we're off to a good start, but plenty more to do. Thanks for stopping by Garden Hike. I appreciate it. We'll see you again soon, next video.